NFL insider Mike Florio says that the Pittsburgh Steelers and Atlanta Falcons are names to watch this offseason for Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is keeping a close eye on both those teams in free agency. So, going all the way back into the 2023 season, the Pittsburgh Steelers went into that year feeling very confident about their quarterback situation, with Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph as the quarterback room. But that positivity quickly faded as the Steelers season continued because Kenny Pickett went down with injury, wasn't playing too well. Mitchell Trubisky, he came in, wasn't playing too well, and then Mason Rudolph, their third stringer, was their best quarterback of the season. So the Pittsburgh Steelers kind of have to face reality here that they have to rebuild their quarterback room, and they've already started doing that because as of right now, they only have quarterback Kenny Pickett on the roster. Obviously, they cut Mitchell Trubisky this week, and also Mason Rudolph, as of right now, is not under contract. So we can't assume he's just going to come back. The Steelers have made it clear that they want him to back in the quarterback room, but who knows how the offseason goes and how free agency goes. If another team will throw more money at him, will he leave? So Mike Florio, he sees the Steelers are making decisive moves to kind of redo their quarterback room, and he has insider information, and he actually went on 93.7 The Fan to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their quarterback situation this offseason. And he brought up Kirk Cousins to the Steelers. So here's what he had to say about the situation and what he has heard as an insider. Here's the quote. I frankly think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do something at quarterback. They're going to get a veteran. They're not going to roll the dice again with a bottom third of the first round or close to it draft pick and hope that guy develops. The reality is, the draft happens weeks after free agency starts. There are multiple options available. I don't know if the Steelers would dig deep enough to pay a guy like Kirk Cousins, but I was talking to some people last week who seemed to be intrigued by the possibility of the Steelers making a play for Kirk Cousins. And those people were very close, if not within, the Kirk Cousins camp. End quote. But then Mike Florio, he was immediately kind of asked more questions about the situation and to clarify what he said kind of all in one sentence. And this is what he said, giving a statement. It's an acknowledgement that it could happen. The Atlanta Falcons and the Pittsburgh Steelers are the two teams that I think the Cousins camp is keeping an eye on. End quote. So, just looking at the Steelers quarterback situation and what Mike Florio has said, and he's kind of right in the situation of the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback spot. Because you look at it, the Steelers are probably not going to draft a quarterback this season because they have the 20th overall pick. And that's the same pick that they had when they drafted Kenny Pickett 2 years ago. And usually the people drafted at the 20th spot don't pan out, or it's very harder for them to turn into great quarterbacks. Yes, you always have those gems, those hidden gems late in the draft or late in a round, but the 20th spot, usually just looking at the history of it, it's not like there's some great quarterbacks consistently. So the Steelers, it's not like at that position in the draft, you're going to be getting the top 3 guys on your QB draft board. No, you may not even be getting the 4th best. You may be getting like the 5th best quarterback. And at that point, is it really worth it to draft the 5th guy on your board just because you dropped to number 20? Probably not. So that's kind of out of the equation for the Steelers unless they decide to trade up. And then another option that was usually on the table and talked about a lot this offseason has been Justin Fields to the Steelers because the Bears had the number 1 pick. They may be picking a quarterback at that spot. And then Justin Fields, they're going to have no need for him. Might as well unload him, get some draft picks, or maybe even get some players to surround Caleb Williams or whoever you draft number 1 overall. Or if they decide to trade the number 1 draft pick and surround Justin Fields, who knows? But that was another option discussed. But the one option that they have most control over and don't have to really rely on other things happening and other teams is signing a quarterback. Because Kirk Cousins, he is a free agent, meaning that he can sign with whatever team he decides to sign with. And if Mike Florio is right, and he is keeping an eye on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Atlanta Falcons, and just say the Minnesota Vikings don't want him anymore, we all see the rumors and reports going around that Justin Jefferson is keeping a close eye on who they sign to be their quarterback of the future before he signs his massive extension to become the highest paid wide receiver probably in NFL history, or at least right now in the NFL. You see he's keeping a close eye on the Vikings, so they might not sign Kirk Cousins. You never know. And then Kirk Cousins is keeping an eye on the Atlanta Falcons and Pittsburgh Steelers. That may be the Pittsburgh Steelers' best chance of actually getting a quarterback, because it's not like you have to trade for someone, they have to accept the trade, or you have to wait for them to fall in the draft and hope that the other teams above you don't select your quarterback. No, you could go out there, clear some cap space, and actually go sign the quarterback if you actually want him. And if he actually wants to be on your team, that's even better, because then maybe the value comes down a little bit. But Kirk Cousins, apparently, to Pro Football Focus, it says that he will likely carry a tag of around $30 million. I mean, that's probably how much he will get paid this offseason per year. Who knows if it's a little bit more or a little bit less. I believe it should be around 30 million or more. I don't know why it would be less, because he's still one of the top tier quarterbacks in this league when healthy and playing. He never really gets injured. He usually plays a lot. This past season, with him being out with an Achilles injury, is really the first time he's missed significant amount of time. He's usually a really healthy quarterback in terms of how many games played he actually plays and shows up in. And that's actually surprising, because he does take a lot of sacks as well, because the offense line is not good. But there could be too much value to pass up on for the Steelers. And the idea of a few years with an actual competent quarterback who's a top tier guy in this league, a top 10 quarterback, and compared to the likelihood of another draft pick or Kenny Pickett quarterback, it actually sounds pretty good. And Mike Florio says that obviously it has a chance to happen. So when we look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team, we see them getting older and getting older quickly. Cameron Heyward, how many years does he have left of good play? TJ Watt, he's turning 30, going in his 30s, and how many years left does he really have to be at a Defense Player of the Year kind of level? Who knows? Alex Highsmith, he's the younger one of the bunch, so there's a lot more time with him. But Steelers secondary, they're old as well. Mcafee Patrick, he's getting older. Patrick Peterson, how many years left does he have? So we look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and they're getting older, especially on defense. So how many years left of Steelers being able to stop teams consistently and kind of bail out their offense do they really have left? And what the Steelers have needed over the past few years, when you look at what they need, has been a quarterback, because they have all the weapons you can ask for on offense, from running back, 2 running backs, multiple wide receivers, multiple tight ends, an offense line who has actually started to play really good late towards the end of the season. So the only thing they have been missing is a quarterback spot. And some may think we have no chance to win the Super Bowl, but having the defense kind of bail out the offense and being a record of making the playoffs, going 10-7, it's actually really surprising that we're able to do that. So just imagine if we actually had competent quarterback play and someone we could rely on to make the routine throws routinely, and it doesn't have to be a struggle. If someone's open, we actually know the ball's going to get to them, and it's not going to be underthrown or overthrown or intercepted or whatever. So if we actually had competent quarterback play, imagine how much better our record could have been. Maybe we could have got the first overall kind of seed, because if we already went 10-7 with bad quarterbacks, 3 different quarterbacks, imagine if Kirk Cousins or another quarterback could actually do something. We have never won a playoff game, with TJ Watt on the roster. So if the Steelers want to use the high level play before their superstars go non-existent and they get older and older, soon they have to make a move to win right now. Unless they don't do it and they just waste all the prime years of their top guys. What I'm basically saying here is, if Kirk Cousins actually wants to sign with the Steelers and is willing to come in and not a $50 million contract or not a $40 million contract, but in the 30s, that's worth it. And for that type of play, even if you give it 2 years or 3 years or whatever, you sign him, you give TJ Watt the best shot at winning playoff games and winning a Super Bowl. And you give this team a best chance of winning a Super Bowl. If we're looking at quarterbacks right now who give the team the best shot right now, it's not Justin Fields, it's not Kenny Pickett, it's not Ryan Tannehill, it's not Mason Rudolph, it is Kirk Cousins. Unless they obviously trade for the top dogs. But Kirk Cousins, as a realist option, is the best option you're going to get. And that's a really good option. If he's able to make a full recovery from that Achilles injury, you may have to go out and sign him if Minnesota Vikings do not get to him first. So with that being said, that's the end of this video. Let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on Mike Florio basically saying and exposing that the Pittsburgh Steelers and Atlanta Falcons are the top 2 options that Kirk Cousins' camp is keeping a close eye on in free agency. Do you think the Steelers should go out and sign him? Do you think they shouldn't? Do you think it would just be a waste of money and he doesn't really add anything? He won't push the needle? Or do you believe, like I believe, they need to kind of make a move quickly because they're wasting the prime years of TJ Watt and their top guys on the team? You see the frustration with the Steelers' younger targets like George Pickens not getting the ball, but Kirk Cousins has brought the best out of Justin Jefferson, so maybe he could bring the best out of the Steelers' offense as well. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well if you like Steelers content, analysis, and reports. Like the video. Turn on post notifications down below for the channel as well. I post every single day. As the off-season free agency starts getting going, I'll cover it all along with the draft. So stay tuned if you want updates with everything Pittsburgh Steelers. Turn on notifications. And I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.